Hey, friends and family. Hey, listen, I wanted to share a bunch of different things with you today because I just got off the most fabulous event that I think I've ever attended. It was 10 days. It was absolutely the most exhilarating but yet exhausting time. I actually had the unique honor and privilege to be working with myself specifically. I worked with 8 different businesses, but in the event, there was over 60 different businesses that came in. We were able to dissect their business, jump into it, take a look at it, come up with a whole bunch of sprints and goals and be able to actually have this. Man, they just walked out with so much valuable information. So if you've never heard of the AGS experience or the AGS Live, or if you've never heard of Joshua Latimer, this is my plug. I'm telling you what, Josh Latimer is absolutely freaking fantastic. He's probably one of the best guys out there to be able to help and learn about businesses, and I love him as a brother. So there's my kudos out to him. Now, when I was there, the one thing that kept coming up over and over and over again was a belief. And this belief was founded in almost every one of these guys' service businesses. Not everyone, but a lot of them. And I would say, again, the majority of them that were actually there. What they found is that, or I should say, what they believed is that they could only sell their services for X amount of dollars. And whatever that X amount of dollars was, that's what they were stuck at. And typically that was formed because the competition was either lower, or they had done it all their lives that way, or something was going on. But the unique thing about this pricing is it was actually causing them to lose and have their business start to fail because their cost of goods had risen. There were some other things that had gone on and actually was creating a scenario or a situation where they were not able to make a profit off of even one job. And they believed they couldn't raise their price because of the fact that they just felt like that was where it was. And so what we ended up starting doing is talking about the actual sales funnel. I'm going to step through this a little bit with you. I wanted to try to make a short video, just kind of do a quick overview. I do have a longer video about this. It's actually in Josh's super course. We talk about a lot of different illustrations. We talk about cool things like, see if I can do this, Petoskey stones, and how you can actually create emotion even on a rock, and how you can actually do some of these things. But what I wanted to share with you guys is the actual sales funnel. And it's all about selling the emotion, selling the story behind it. And that's why this is, again, you can see the title here on the screen is called Emotional Selling. So the very, very first thing that I wanted to do, and I'm going to look away here because I'm actually going to move a couple of these different things around, is I'm just give you a quick overview. And this is going to be, actually it takes a little bit of time here to actually flip through. There we go. So these are the 4 steps, and there's 4 stools to these. It's the relationship, it's the value, you have your emotional, and your logical being higher than the MSRP. And once all of that stuff happens, you get down to this bottom corner here, which is the MSRP is okay. So let me just run through, like I said, a couple of these different ones and then just talk briefly about it. Stage 1 is the relationship. There is a very significant, I shouldn't say significant, there is a very specific step of how to get to the relationship. Most individuals know about the know, like, trust, and they work on that principle. I kind of want to flip that on its head because here's what really truly happens inside the home and when you're talking with a sale. And I don't care if this is a sale that's a 15-minute sale, if it's a 2-hour sale, a 3-week sale, it always happens in the same format. The first step is creating the commonality. The commonality is something that you can feel, and you have that between you and your customer. And so the way to do this is looking for things that you have, whether it's you share a vacation, you share a hobby, you share similar family values, you get them to talk about their families, find something that they have about that you guys have in common. And then there's 2 significant events or situations that will come up that will instantly tell you that you have created that commonality. Number 1 is if they share a strong belly laugh with you. If they're willing to share that kind of a laugh with you, then you know that you established a commonality. The second thing is if they're willing to share some kind of an emotional experience, something that has moved them and something that they usually hold close to their heart. If they're willing to share that with you, you know that you've established commonality. So those are the 2 ways to establish, I'm sorry, that's the commonality. And those are 2 ways to know that that commonality has been established. The next level up is to establish yourself as the expert. The expert then becomes somebody that they look to for the answers. They're going to ask the questions, and they're going to believe that expert no matter what he says. And I have to add a little bit of a disclaimer here, because once you've established commonality, established yourself as an expert, you can't use that to manipulate and to just lead people down the wrong path. Your motive is absolutely critical here. You've got to have the right motive, and that you're there truly to be able to help, because what will happen in the future is that your reputation will get burned. There'll be all kinds of things that will happen that will just not be a good scenario for the length of your business to be able to build out a brand. Sure, you'll get a couple people to trick in there to be able to get your sale, to get what you need to, but in the long run, it's not healthy for the company, it's not healthy for the brand, and it's not healthy for your reputation. So the first one is commonality. Second step on that is becoming an expert. And then the third one on that is the fact that they're going to trust you. So again, establishing commonality, establish yourself as an expert, and then having that commonality. So as I walk through that, again, I'm trying to give an overview, so there's so many more things in there that we could actually talk about, but the core is understanding that as far as the first step of the cycle, and then the second stage of the cycle is what I'm going to term as far as value, okay? Value is where you actually take your features and your benefits and you align them with what the customer is actually looking for. And this is, and it kind of overlaps into the third one, which is the emotional value and logical value. So I can actually split this up a little bit, and I'm going to jump back and forth just slightly on this part of it. But the features and the benefits are something like, hey, this is we're the best, we do the most quality, whatever. Like, there's a lot of different things that you can actually say about your product. Quite frankly, your customer doesn't care. What your customer is looking for is a lot of the emotional attachments. Are they going to be secure? Is it going to be an opportunity that they're going to save money? Is there a little bit of scarcity that's involved in that? The emotional things that are attached to that are much more significant than what it is, or telling the story behind who you are much more significant, because they're doing business with you. They're doing businesses in a relationship. They're not just buying a service. And depending on what the level is of your service, like how much it costs and all these other things, depending on that level, it really will depend on how much emotional value that you actually need to build up. But the key is to understand you've got a whole list of features and benefits that are all there. Everybody knows that what's there about their company. But then on the other side of the sheet is to be able to actually take a look at that and say, okay, here's what the customer's value is. It's an emotional value. It's an emotional attachment. You add these customer emotional values to the features and benefits that you have, change the language, create a messaging that's going to suit what they're looking for rather than what it is that you're selling. All right, so that's the value part of it. And then as we step in, just to do a real quick reminder, you have the first one, which is relationship. You have the second one, which is creating that value, understanding the features and the benefits, and creating that message around that. And then the third thing is, and this is where it kind of changed a little bit, but I'm going to say it's greater than. And why is it greater than? Well, if you remember the first slide, and I can actually go back, but you're looking at, you have emotional value is greater than your MSRP. Your logical value is greater than your MSRP. So what exactly does that mean? Well, I'm sure everybody has seen illustrations, and I'm going to use this one because it's pretty common on TV right now. When you have the doorbell that actually has the video camera in it, if you ever watch that commercial, it's a 30-second commercial. They don't talk about the technology. They don't talk about how cool it is that it actually syncs with your iPhone and that it does all of these really great technological feats, and you can put it on, it's easy to install. They don't talk about any of that stuff. What do they show? They show a couple of burglars sneaking up to the front door. Or they show a wife at home by herself and somebody's banging on the door and she doesn't know who it is. They're selling completely off of safety. They're selling off of that fear. And those are the two elements of the emotion that they're attaching to a doorbell that has a video camera in it. And so there's a lot of, if you start watching commercials and once you understand all of these different things, it's amazing. You're going to be able to start seeing a lot of that emotion come out in all of the TV commercials. And again, once you understand that, you can actually start using that for your customers. You're going to be amazed at that belief that you have that you can only sell it this much is going to just go away. All right, so you need to increase that emotional value. And again, lots and lots of details that we could talk about that, but again, just trying to do an overview. The second part of that is the logical value. The logical value has to be greater than whatever that MSRP is. All right, so the key in this, and this is what a lot of people forget, especially when they're doing sales, is if your customer cannot afford whatever that service is, and let's say it's $1,000, $2,000 service, if your customer cannot afford that, they're going to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, oh crap, what did I just do? And they're going to look at that and they're going to say, well, I just committed to spend $1,000, $2,000 for whatever that service is that I just don't have. And so if they logically cannot see how they're going to be able to pay for it or how they're going to be able to afford it, that panic sets in, and that's going to far outweigh any kind of emotional attachment that you built. I mean, obviously, if you got the sale, you built that emotional value and that emotional attachment to that service. but that logic can kick in and it can sabotage the entire sales process. So you have to make sure that before you walk away, after you've signed a contract, after you've committed to it, that they have a good solid idea of how it is that they're going to pay for that. So once you've created the emotional value and the logical value greater than the MSRP, then that's when you get to the fourth stage, which is really, really okay. I mean, which is really, really awesome, because now you can actually say, or the customer will actually say, hey, my MSRP, it's okay. All right. So you've got all four of these stages in here. First one is the relationship, establishing that bond with the customer. Next one is establishing the value, understanding what your value should be and what you should be talking about rather than just the features and benefits. And then taking that and just building on that emotional value and the logical value. And once you have those three stages done and you get to the fourth stage of this, your customer should pretty much be saying, shut up and take my money. And once that happens, that's what we all want. I mean, we're looking to be able to get to that sale. And that removes the objection of, hey, so-and-so down the street's about $20 cheaper than you, or $50 cheaper than you, or I can get this cheaper somewhere else, or I can do it myself. Because they're not buying, again, they're not buying that service, they're buying something completely different. So you got a phone ringing in the background, but it'll be okay. So, stupid phone. All right, then the last thing, and I just wanted to share this with you guys, is the fact that we've got... if you wanted to schedule a call, I'll actually post a link down there. We can do a free 15-minute call, dissect your business and see exactly what it is that you're doing and what you're working on. And then from there, basically, if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to talk a little bit more about this, we can actually focus on it and we can go from there. So, all right, that's all I got for today. Again, check it out. We're going to post this out on a couple different channels. And if you're not connected, love to be connected, love to be able to talk with you. And we shall see you soon.